Hello and welcome back to the channel Up the Reds TV with me, Andy. So, Merry Christmas to everyone of you guys, and thanks for watching this one. So, this is the Wolves pre-warm-up show, and we're not playing them until Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. So, a bit of a way away, but Arne Slot slipped in a press conference yesterday, so let's take a look at Wolves and let's take a look at Arne Slot's press conference, shall we? So Wolves, first of all, let's look at the last 4 games. We don't look any further than that. Won none, drawn none, lost 4. They've scored 2 goals and conceded 9 in those. So at home to Forest, they lost 1-0. They played a 3-4-3 formation against Forest's 4-2-3-1. Home again to Manchester United, they suffered a 4-1 defeat. Again, this is where it changed for Rob Edwards. He played a 3-5-2 and played against Manchester United's infamous 3-4-2-1 formation. Away to Arsenal, lost 2-1. Again, played a 3-5-2 against Arsenal's 4-3-3. And then at home, they lost 2-0. Played a 3-5-2 again and played against Brentford's 4-3-3. So in the league, they've played 17 games. Won none, drawn 2 and lost 15. The true draws were against Spurs away and Brighton at home. Rob Edwards, he became their manager in November after less than 5 months in charge of Middlesbrough, who were in second place when he left them at the time. So he's taken on the poison chalice at Wolves there. Look, they're going to be relegated, at the end of the season. It's nearly the worst, well, I think it is the worst Premier League team ever at this part of the season, with only 2 points in here. However, I do not want Wolves taking any points from us Reds this season, and that starts when we play them on Saturday. Let's have a look at the games that they've played. So Forest didn't score until the 72nd minute to win that one 1-0. United were held to a 1-1 at half time, and then they conceded 3 goals in the second half on 51, 62 and 82 minutes. The interesting one is the Arsenal one for me. They held Arsenal for 70 minutes until an OG was scored, and then they score one on the 90th, but they conceded in 90 plus 4 minutes another OG as well in that game. So probably the most that Wolves players have scored in a game this season, be it 2 being OGs there. Right, look, we've struggled to score in the first half of this season, so don't be surprised if this comes in at 0-0 at half time. For me, it's just the way that the pattern of our play is following this season. And with the way our squad is, it is depleted. We seem to be losing players every game that we play, so I'm having my fingers crossed, my toes crossed, anything else that I can cross, that we don't pick up any more injuries in this game at home against Wolves. So let's have a look at that Arne Slot press conference yesterday. Obviously, main talking point was Alexander Isak. He's out for 2 months. Look, for me, we'll be lucky if we see him before April. So forget about this nonsense about 2 months being out. I think it's going to be longer for him. It's just unfortunate for the guy. I said at the time that I didn't think it was a reckless challenge. It was just defender coming back to try and stop an opponent scoring, and yet you're probably thinking if it's anywhere else on the pitch, that's a free kick. But yeah, I think it is what it is. I know Arne Slot mentioned it and he wasn't happy about the challenge because he's seen it back on how late it was. But yeah, look, sometimes you can walk away from those challenges, 9 times out of 10. And unfortunately for Alexander Isak, he's caught one on his standing. Well, actually, he shot from his left foot, didn't he? So yeah. But it is what it is for him. We've signed him. We've got him for long term, so he'll come back stronger. He put a message out on Insta or somewhere that he will be ready and he'll be stronger when he comes back. So all good luck to him in his recovery. It does leave us with a massive hole. It just seems to be getting bigger with the extended injury list. So yeah, Conor Bradley is 50-50 with Cody Gakpo. Endo's out. Joey Gomez is out as well. So this is what Arne Slot had to say. Players that are available and fans, he said, will have to give us everything in the next 2 games and roll their sleeves up. So he's mainly doing that, rolling the sleeves up for the players. But if I could reiterate, I think the fans should roll their sleeves up as well and get behind the team in these 2 games. These are going to be tough games for the Reds because the way how the season has panned out for us. And yeah, he said, look, somebody asked him about is Wolves a dangerous opponent, and he said, look, every game in the Premier League is dangerous. So he was mentioning the injuries. He said, look, most of our injuries are not from overloading. Now, by that he means that players are not playing too many games and not getting enough rest in between games. So he picked up on the Isak injury. That wasn't the one. I'll disagree with him about Joey Gomez because we know he can't string a month of games before he breaks down. So he was on about Kirkes talking to some media about him and Wirtz now playing really well together and getting a good understanding. He turned around and said, look, every time they'll play together, they'll get a better connection. And the bit that got me was when he mentioned Gakpo, Wirtz or Chiesa could play on the left-hand side, and that was because obviously the personnel in front of Kirkes has changed. So, but I'm being honest with myself here. If he's never played Kirkes in teams that he should have started in this season, I'll be surprised if he plays against Wolves. And if he does play against Wolves, that's a massive thing for us Reds because he puts it in training and he puts it in when he comes on, and there is a bit of an issue there between Chiesa and Arne Slot for me, and it's obvious to see if he doesn't pick him in the teams. Adjourno mentioned Ungamoa getting some more minutes. That was another reason when he mentioned Wirtz can play there, Gakpo can play there, and Chiesa can play there. So he's not going to play Ungamoa. So I don't know why that journo asked that silly question. He's never going to play the 17-year-old is not going to start against Wolves. He might start against Barnsley in the FA Cup, but he's not for the Premier League. And it will be a surprise to me and many others if he does. And then Harvey Elliott question came about him, and he promptly shut that down. He said, look, Harvey Elliott is on a season-long loan at Aston Villa, and he said, so any questions about the players should be directed at Villa. And that was interesting. So Harvey Elliott is not coming back in January. we can rule that one out by what he said. He was asked about Hugo Ekitike, and he said he has so much in his locker. He has now adjusted to the Premier League. What he needs to do is build up his physique, because in this league you need to be on your top level to compete every week. Fair assumption, and I agree with him about that. But he is a handful, and I'm glad we don't have to play against him week in and week out, because he can cause the opposition problems with his dribbling, his scoring goals now, feet, header. So yeah, and I'm just glad that we signed him. And people were looking up to think why we're signing two strikers. Here's our answer. Obviously, because what's happened with Alexander Isak in his latest setback, we can call it that. He said Wirtz is going to be okay. He only had cramp, and he also mentioned that he's adjusted to the Premier League now. So again, when he was mentioning the players about not finishing 90 minutes, I think that was the reason. But I also do remember in a press conference, maybe one or two back, he did say that the players were now ready and up to speed in the Premier League. So, but in this press conference, he mentioned about them not being, not quite getting to the 90 minutes there. So that's a bit of contradiction for me. And then he was asked about set pieces, and he said, look, open chances we create, we are number one in the league. For me, it doesn't feel like that, if I'm honest with you. It might be, but when I see us not scoring goals in the first half in many, many games now, and we're sitting back, we're being not cagey, we're expecting an avalanche to come from the team that we play against, but teams are doing exactly the same against us. So it is a bit boring to watch first halves with us at the moment. And he said, but to me, it doesn't feel like that. He said, when I'm watching, we are -8 in set pieces. Yeah, we certainly are -8 when other teams are on maybe +8s and things like that. He was asked what's changed from last season, and this is the interesting part. He said nothing has changed from last season apart from new players coming in. And again, he doesn't see that there is a situation there which concerns me slightly, but at the end of the day, he's the head coach, and he has to pick the team that's available to him. And just talking about available, here's the team I'm going to pick, okay, on the information that Arne Slot has said, and that's coming out of the AXA training ground. Ali in goals, it'll either be Conor Bradley or Frimpong go right back. Kirkes will go left back. Kanate and Virgil will be the centre half pairings. Ryan, Curtis Jones, McAllister, and Wirtz will be in midfield because obviously Dom Szoboszlai is suspended, and up front it'll be either Chiesa, Gakpo, or Ekitike, with Ekitike. So you've got those three up front there. The bench will be full of under 21 players, so the cover will be low on the bench. Obviously, Robbo will be on there. Mohamedashvili and the likes. But after that, the pick is yours. Look, hopefully the players can deliver in this game. Another 3 points from this depleted squad that we currently have would be really good. And I'm going to say a draw is going to be no good. It has to be a win against bottom of the league. I know it's Wolves. They will be playing with low blocks. With the way he's been picking his team, they'll be plenty of defenders, and we need the likes of Wirtz and his trickery to open up. We need the likes of Ekitike to do a bit of magic. And as Arne Slot said, the players need to roll the sleeves up in the next 2 games, because we will definitely need them. And hopefully we stay clear of any injuries from that, because the top 4 now is our benchmark between now and the end of the season. Forget about anything else. Let's not be having silly talk about we're only so many points off top spot, and Arsenal, Manchester United are catchable. They might be catchable, but with the way our luck's gone this season, we ain't going to win the league. So let's common sense prevail. You might be screaming and shouting at this while you're watching this. That's a bit of negativity coming from you. Well, it's not really, because I gave up on the Premier League at the beginning of November, and I say middle of November, when we were halfway through the string of defeats that we were having at that time, and I said top 4 had to be, and it was for a number of reasons, but that has to be our goal now, between now and the end of the season. Okay, that's enough from me. You tell me what you guys think, but we need to win. We need to get the 3 points. I will be doing a post-match after the game, so I'll speak to you guys then. Okie doke, so thank you for watching this. I hope you guys have a boss day tomorrow in whatever you are up to, and I will speak to you shortly. So Merry Christmas from UpTheRedsTV. Up the Reds.